It's sometimes difficult to transition from being a child star to a serious actor. Some young actors try to remain on screen, while others choose different directions after one big hit. Here are a few iconic child stars who are no longer with us. 5-year-old Heather O'Rourke was eating in the cafeteria at MGM Studios one day in the early 1980s, waiting while her sister Tammy was filming a movie. It was there that she was scouted by blockbuster filmmaker Steven Spielberg, who was producing the 1982 horror movie Poltergeist. He thought that O'Rourke, who at the time had a resume consisting of a single episode of Fantasy Island, would be right for the part of Carol Ann Freeling, a girl who would be kidnapped by evil forces through a closet. Poltergeist would prove to be a hit, and O'Rourke would go on to appear in a few episodes of TV shows like Webster and Happy Days, but most notably reprised the role of Carol Ann in 2 Poltergeist sequels. In February 1988, O'Rourke reported abdominal pain so severe that her parents quickly took her to Children's Hospital of San Diego. The 12-year-old actor died during surgery from what doctors diagnosed as complications of intestinal stenosis, a serious obstruction of the small intestine that O'Rourke had dealt with since birth but had gone undiagnosed. The family's attorney filed a lawsuit alleging medical malpractice.
What they thought she had was bowel inflammation. What she actually had was an obstruction.
That blockage allowed an infection to develop, which had stopped the actor's heart. Poltergeist 3 arrived in theaters in June 1988, 4 months after O'Rourke died. As the daughter of film producer and novelist Dominique Dunne and the brother of filmmaker and An American Werewolf in London star Griffin Dunne, Dominique Dunne was properly set up for movie success. Between 1979 and 1981, she slowly broke into Hollywood with a succession of roles in the TV movies The Day the Loving Stopped and Valentine Magic on Love Island. She also landed episodic work on shows like Lou Grant and Family. Dunne found her breakthrough role in the 1982 horror movie Poltergeist, portraying teenager Dana Freeling, part of a family whose home is beset by evil spirits. She filmed and taped several more episodes of TV shows like Chips, Hill Street Blues, and V, most of which would air after her death. In 1982, Dunne broke up with her boyfriend John Sweeney, rejecting his possessive and violent behavior after he'd attempted to strangle her once before. When Dunne tried to break things off for good, it sent Sweeney into a rage. He lured her out of her home and strangled her again. After days in the hospital, Dunne never regained consciousness. He was later convicted of voluntary manslaughter and served just a few years in prison. Dunne was 22 years old when she died. Before MTV's TRL disappeared, it popularized boy bands, making huge stars out of the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. But just as MTV got into the boy band business, they were also mocking the fad. In 2000, it aired the TV movie Together, about a manufactured 5-guy group of the same name. It spawned a TV series, a book, and albums. Together even hit the road as Britney Spears' opening act. Like other boy bands, Together included an adorable baby-faced member, Jason QT McKnight, portrayed by actor and singer Michael Cuccione. He'd appeared in single episodes of just 2 other series before he began playing QT full-time in 2000. In childhood, Cuccione was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, a form of cancer. By the age of 10, doctors pronounced him to be cancer-free. His illness was even something they'd written into the show as a joke.
It's also not true that I'm still dying. Seriously, QT? Just kidding, I am.
But in late 2000, 15-year-old Cuccione and his mother were involved in a car accident, which led to the singer checking into British Columbia Children's Hospital for surgery to repair a damaged diaphragm. While under medical supervision, he developed pneumonia. His lungs had grown so irreparably damaged from the chemotherapy treatments he endured that he wasn't able to breathe without a machine. In January 2001, 8 days after his 16th birthday and while the Together series was still running, Cuccione died after respiratory failure. When Oscar-nominated filmmaker Richard Linklater wanted to remake the 70s comedy The Bad News Bears in 2005, he had to find an actor for the role of star youth baseball pitcher Amanda Wurlitzer, hopefully someone who was as good at baseball as she was at reading lines. Linklater found his candidate in Sammi Kraft, who hurled a 75-mile-an-hour fastball at her audition. Kraft was 13 years old when The Bad News Bears was released, marking both her professional acting debut and also her final film. Kraft later attended high school in Woodland Hills, California, played softball, and formed a band, Scary Girls. In the early morning hours of October 9, 2012, Kraft was riding in an Audi going over the speed limit on a freeway in Los Angeles. The driver hit a semi-truck from behind, and their Audi was then also hit by another vehicle. Kraft was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where she was pronounced dead. Kraft was 20 years old. The driver was later arrested on a charge of felony drunk driving. After a career on stage that had begun at the age of 6, Tommy Rettig moved on to movies in 1950, co-starring in more than a dozen, including The 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T and River of No Return. But none of those films had the cultural reach of one of the most famous fictional dogs in history. Rettig edged out more than 500 kid actors to win the role of Jeff Miller in 1954's Lassie TV series. Rettig stayed with Lassie for 3 years until the plot shifted. The Millers took in an orphan named Timmy but left the family farm, leaving both Lassie and Timmy behind to live with the Martins, Timmy's new adopted parents. Rettig showed up occasionally on TV shows in the 1960s, but disappeared until his final role, returning to the character of Jeff Miller in the final episode of The New Lassie in 1992 in an episode he co-wrote.
I had a lassie of my own once. She was very special.
Throughout his life, he found work as a photographer, computer programmer, and gym manager while publicly advocating for the legalization of marijuana. On February 15, 1996, Rettig's body was discovered at his home in Marina del Rey, California. An initial autopsy attributed the death of the former actor to natural causes. Rettig was 54 years old. Dustin Diamond was 11 years old when he first portrayed smart, socially awkward misfit Samuel Screech Powers in 1988 on the Disney Channel series Good Morning, Miss Bliss. When that series was adapted into the NBC Saturday morning teen sitcom Saved by the Bell, Diamond went along. He reprised the role for 86 episodes plus 2 made-for-TV movies, a short-lived spin-off Saved by the Bell The College Years, and then for another 130 episodes of Saved by the Bell The New Class. Diamond was so adept at playing the quintessential TV nerd that he had a hard time getting the chance to play anything else. While Diamond landed the occasional role in a B-movie or a primetime sitcom, he was often stuck playing a fictionalized version of himself or appearing on reality TV. He also faced a number of controversies over the years, including a few reality TV fights and the production of an adult video.
Don't freak out, you're in hell.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
For a lot of reasons that I think that you know.
Diamond checked into a Florida hospital in January 2021, noting unexplained and serious full body pain. A number of exams and tests later confirmed that Diamond had stage 4 small cell carcinoma. On February 1, 2021, only 3 weeks after receiving his diagnosis and despite receiving chemotherapy, Diamond died at the age of 44. An instant hit upon its debut in 1986, the sitcom Alf launched a pop culture phenomenon. Based around a hip, wisecracking alien puppet, the title character hid out on a suburban home of the Tanner family, annoying all of his human hosts except for young Brian Tanner, portrayed by child star Benji Gregory. Before Alf, Gregory landed some supporting roles in live-action TV. After Alf ended in 1990, he contributed his voice to the animated Back to the Future TV series and Once Upon a Forest. In adulthood, he abandoned acting and enlisted in the U.S. Navy, where he worked as a weather forecaster on an aircraft carrier. According to Gregory's sister, the former actor's body was discovered in his car on June 13, 2024, next to that of his service dog, outside of a bank in Peoria, Arizona. Writing on Facebook, she recounted, "We believe he went there the evening of the 12th to deposit some residuals and never got out of the car to do so. He fell asleep and died from vehicular heat stroke." Gregory was 46 years old. With a $102 million box office haul, Mary Poppins was far and away the top-grossing movie of 1964. The Disney adaptation of the classic children's novel about a magical nanny won Julie Andrews an Academy Award and shot its child stars to fame, including 8-year-old Matthew Garber. Before playing Michael Banks, Garber had appeared in only one other project, the forgettable 1963 magical cat movie The 3 Lives of Thomasina. After Mary Poppins raised his stature, Garber made just one more film, the 1967 family comedy The Gnome Mobile. In the 1970s, Garber embraced a hippie lifestyle and headed to India, where a number of enclaves established by like-minded Americans and Europeans had developed. While traveling around India in 1976, Garber acquired hepatitis. According to the actor's brother, it was unknown how that happened, but it was most likely from consuming tainted meat. By the time Garber's family persuaded him to return home to England for medical treatment in 1977, it was too late. The disease had taken hold and irreparably damaged his pancreas. In June 1977, Garber died of hemorrhagic necrotizing pancreatitis at the Royal Free Hospital in London. He was 21. Jon Paul Steuer showed up on a handful of TV series in the late 1980s and early 1990s, including Day by Day, Star Trek The Next Generation, and The Wonder Years. When ABC built a sitcom around popular stand-up comic Brett Butler in 1993, 9-year-old Steuer was cast as Butler's character's gentle young son, Quentin Kelly. The show, Grace Under Fire, was a top 10 hit and earned Steuer a nomination at the Young Artist Awards in 1995. But in 1996, after 3 seasons, he left the series. Butler's on-set behavior had grown unacceptable, including an alleged incident in which she exposed herself in front of Steuer. The role of Quentin was aged up and recast with replacement actor Sam Horrigan. Steuer permanently quit acting. He later switched to music and adopted the stage name Johnny P. Jules while performing with various bands. He also launched a popular restaurant in Portland. On January 1, 2018, according to an investigation by Portland police, Steuer died by suicide. The former child star was 33 years old. The three kids on CBS's smash hit Everybody Loves Raymond were played by the same three young actors for the entirety of its nearly decade-long run, real-life siblings Madeline, Sullivan, and Sawyer Sweeten. They all took home $100,000 per episode paychecks by the end of the series, but Sawyer Sweeten in particular faced financial problems a decade later. He never appeared on screen again after Everybody Loves Raymond and was deeply in debt by 2015. After a business he formed didn't take off, he didn't have income when California issued a lien to recover unpaid taxes. Desperate and depressed, Sweeten died by suicide on April 23, 2015, at the home of a relative in Austin, Texas, the place the actor was born and raised. Madeline Sweeten said in a statement to Variety, "This morning, a terrible family tragedy has occurred. We are devastated to report that our beloved brother, son, and friend, Sawyer Sweeten, took his own life. He was weeks away from his 20th birthday."